Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. How have you been? How's your week been? I trust we're all good. Amazingly, we are just a few weeks to the end of the year, and that's something to really celebrate because it's amazing that you are alive. I'm alive, no matter the challenges that we're experiencing in life. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that is on every immigrant's mind, and that is Canada's bold move to tackle immigration fraud, like all sorts of immigration fraud, from fraudulent asylum claims to fake job offers, you name it. Canada is on fire, as they would say, to tackle all these immigration frauds that have been happening right under their noses. So if you are thinking of doing any kind of immigration fraud or you're already involved in it, you have to think again because they might just be coming for you. So go ahead and grab a drink, grab a seat, and let's talk about this because today's video and everything you will learn here might just stop you from making a costly mistake. So what made me to make today's video? If you follow me on Instagram or on TikTok, you must have seen the video I made over the weekend. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I am on Sheyi Speaks on Instagram and Sheyi Canada on TikTok. Go ahead and follow. So I know this international student, the lady, she just finished the last time I saw her, she was about to graduate and apply for her PGWP, which is a great thing. Like, that's an opportunity for her to get work experience that will probably qualify her for one of the permanent residence routes, right? I met her again after a few months recently, and I was like, how is it going with your PGWP and getting a work experience and all of that? And she had this look on her face, and it wasn't a very good look. Yeah. And, I patiently asked her, what's going on? Any issues? Talk to me. If there's anything I can do to help, I will do. And then she told me that she had filed an asylum claim. I was like, what? Why did you do that? She said that she had been having issues, she had not been able to get a job, time was running out on her, and a couple of people told her to go ahead and file an asylum claim, that other people are doing it, and when you file an asylum claim, you get a work permit, and people were getting PR with asylum claim. And that she had done that, and I was really upset with her, right? But I was like, you should have asked me first, or you should have gotten advice. Why didn't you come to me? She said that she couldn't come to me, that, they gave her someone to contact, an immigration consultant, actually a registered immigration consultant, and this immigration consultant gave her, advice on what to do to file this asylum claim. Which is very funny, and I sort of sat her down. I said, do you understand what an asylum claim is? Because you have to be under persecution from your government, or your life has to be in danger for you to file an asylum claim. You need to also understand the consequences if your claim is refused, right? So I asked her if she understood these things. It looks like she didn't understand it. And I was telling her that you've been in Canada, you studied for 1 year, you've been here, got your PGWP, and then all of a sudden you're saying you're going to file an asylum claim. You were on the other end of the table. How would you say? Does it sound like this is does it sound like this is real? If you were under persecution from your government or coming here, that would have been the first thing you would have done. But she said that the immigration consultant has assured her, he has told her what to say, that they were prepping her for the, for the hearings and all of that. And I said, okay, I took the time to school her, as I'm going to do here, on what these asylum claims mean and if you are refused. Now, if she's actually refused, she will now have to do appeal upon appeal. And that money that she says she doesn't have, she has to bring it out. It's very expensive to get immigration lawyers to do these appeals for you. It is not free. Once you're refused, you have to start doing appeals. Then the emotional problems, the emotional toll it takes on you. You're standing on one leg, or even zero leg in Canada. Anything could happen. You could be refused. They could make a removal order on you, which means that you have to leave Canada. Secondly, like I said before, you have to be spending money. You can imagine if she had taken the time to, settle down, look for a job, and, continue with her PGWP. I mean, she might have been well on her way to getting her PGWP, but no, somebody advised her to go and take asylum claim, and she did. And do you know that the number of asylum claimants in Canada that are international students is on the rise? The Prime Minister and the Immigration Minister also alluded to this, and there are lots of news articles also pointing to the statistics of international students that are rising in terms of the number of international students and temporary foreign workers, and also temporary residents in Canada that are seeking asylum. The truth is that asylum is not a backdoor. It's not a way for you to get permanent residence. There was a time asylum claims were easily, approved and all of that. But this day, you can see how the government's eye is shining. You can see how Macmillan and the Prime Minister, they are not smiling because next year's election, and Canadians are actually kicking against, all these asylum claimants that are coming into Canada. Canadians are not, against immigration. They're just against the numbers and the way that people seem to be abusing the system. So actually going to claim asylum is an abuse of the system if you are not qualified or you do not meet the eligibility. It just gives you time, but always think about the future. Now, when I was talking, there's something I said. She said that a registered immigration consultant had advised her to do this. And that is actually what is happening. Yeah, so, a lot of times people will represent them as registered immigration consultants and immigration lawyers, and they're the ones that will prep you for your hearings and all of that. And I'm sure this has gotten to the government because Macmillan recently did a tweet where he wrote a letter to the head of that immigration school, the Immigration Council and all of that, where that regulates all of those registered immigration consultants. And I'm going to read the letter to you so that you will be aware that the government is very aware. And trust me, we all know that once Macmillan starts talking or he starts saying, I'm thinking of something, something is going to happen soon. But let's take a look at that letter first. And, I want to get your opinion on it, and I'm also going to give my opinion on it. Let's just look at it. So, guys, let's just take a look at the letter. I'm going to read it, and you follow through. If it's not clear on the screen, I sincerely apologize. But the letter is to John Murray, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. Yeah, and he said, Dear John Murray, the immigration consultant profession has seen great achievements in the last few years, and I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the College of Immigration and Citizenship on recent initiatives and accomplishments. So this is actually the college where those who want to be like registered immigration consultants go to. Now let's move to paragraph 2. I would like to raise an important and concerning issue of which I'm sure you are aware of. That's the growing number of international students that are claiming asylum in Canada. I am concerned by reports that some of these students are being counseled by third parties to do so and provide false information. Now, we all know that providing false information on anything immigration is fraud. Yeah, so this means that they are being counseled to do fraud. Yeah, they are being counseled to cheat the system. And these are registered immigrants who obviously probably know some of the loopholes of the system, and they are using it to, use these people to kind of like use their knowledge and all of that to get these people to cheat the system. Let's go ahead. Canada is dedicated to aiding individuals in need of protection. However, counseling asylum seekers to misinterpret themselves to remain in Canada or to seek permanent residence would be contrary to the objectives of Canada's immigration system. Because just like I said, and as you know, if licensed immigration consultants are participants, their involvement could constitute a violation of Section 12 of the Code of Professional Conduct for the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, which states that a licensee must not in any of their professional dealings knowingly assist in or encourage dishonesty, fraud, or illegal conducts. Now, that's what the letter has said. And to be fair, I've actually talked to a few people who are seeking asylum, and I asked them, what's your asylum claim and all of that. They say that their lawyer is schooling them, telling them how to answer, telling them what to say. But one thing about seeking asylum in Canada is that you don't only have to tell, you have to show, you have to prove. So if you say your life is in danger, or you say whatever all of those claims are, you have to actually prove it and show them that, you're actually in danger, or you actually should you're a genuine asylum claimant. So they are cracking down not just on those who are making the asylum claims, but on those who are helping them to make asylum claims. the Prime Minister also alluded to this, and I'll show us later down this video, a video made by the Prime Minister where he also talked about a lot of this immigration, frauds, especially asylum claim frauds. It has become almost out of hand, in Canada. Guys, let me know your opinions in the comment section, or what do you think, right? Some of you know people who have come here to claim asylum. Some of you are asylum claimants or maybe thinking about it. What is your opinion about it? Do you think that these are like stringent rules, or the government should let people to be claiming asylum anyhow? What do you think? Leave your comments down in the comment section. Now, let's talk about another kind of fraud that's almost very prevalent in Canada, and that's fake job offers, or fake LMIA. Sometimes the LMIAs are not fake, but there are people in Canada who are selling LMIAs. It has become almost a booming market. It's like when Canada, did this LMIA, they sort of like opened shop for some people to sell LMIAs. Some people are getting rich. I hear some LMIAs cost as much as 50,000. I've seen someone that told me that they were asked to bring 25,000 for an LMIA. And you know that some of these LMIAs are fake at the end of the day. Someone collects 25,000 from you and gives you a fake LMIA. Yeah, it is sick. Yeah, and there's so many fake ones. And one of the reasons why I think this is happening is that, an LMIA offer does two things. Number one, you can use it to add points to your permanent residence application. I think it gives about 50 points. Number two, you can use it to apply for a work permit. So if you have an LMI and job offer, you can apply for a work permit, which is what some people use it for. Some people are using it to gain that extra 50 points added to their CRS scores for permanent residence. So I know that some of you may have seen this news article. It has been all over the place. I've seen it all over social media. Canada's immigration minister weighs crackdown on fake job offers in permanent residence applications. This was reported by the Toronto Star. And yes, a lot of people have been worried, but this has not been implemented. It never said it was implemented, but the minister did say he was thinking about it. They're thinking of taking away that 50 points that people get, in their permanent residence applications that added to their CRS score when they do get an LMIA job offer. There are lots of people that are genuine, that actually need this. They're genuine workers, they have genuine job offers, and they really need these points. But then, of course, because of all the bad players, which is always the case, right? Because of all the bad players, there is a likelihood that this might be stopped. We don't know how soon it will be. The minister didn't say he has done it, but we all know from previous, interactions with the Prime Minister, anytime he comes and says, what we are thinking of, the next thing you will hear is, you will see him in front of a microphone actually giving the announcement. So I believe that, anytime he's saying anything, it is something that they've probably thought about, it's something they probably met about or discussed about, and there's actually something in the pipeline. So I think we need to keep our fingers crossed and, look out for this. Now, why is this happening? Again, it is fake job offers. Again, it is fraud. And this is another indication that Canada government is actually tired of the fraud. Maybe this means that they are listening to the people, but a lot of times it could be because of the coming election, So the coming election has made them probably see all of the loopholes and that they have made themselves, or they have allowed the bad players to actually make, Because really, Canada immigration is the one on top of this thing. It is your system, So even if there were like bad actors, people with fake job offers, and you knew, what did you do about it? They passed through the immigration. The immigration officers are the one that review these applications. You are even the one that gives this LMI. So how is it that there was such a breakdown of the system that it got to this level where it's now become like a pandemic and the government has to do something about it? There are lots of people who are genuine, and many of you that are watching are genuine, but there are lots of bad players. So this is another crackdown that is happening. Now we're going to look at a video made by the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on his YouTube account. So Prime Minister Trudeau has been under a lot of stress, pressure, and attacks by Canadians. Canadians are not happy with the influx of immigrants. And I'm sure they're not unhappy with the immigrants themselves. It's just the pressure that it has put on housing, there's inflation, the pressure it has put on infrastructure, on social services, on public services, and all of that. There are Canadians who can't find a job. There are Canadians who are not working and then they're angry that, those who are seeking asylum are being put in a hotel or they are being taken care of, while citizens of the country and permanent residents, are like they have been pushed to the corner. And election is this year, and you know how it is when an election year is coming. The politicians usually sit up. That's when they probably listen, because maybe before then they were not really listening; they were doing other things. So I think Prime Minister Trudeau has listened. I've heard that he has been asked to step down. I've heard that he has been asked to resign. I've heard that he has been asked to do an early election. All of those things have been going around. And now the minister is reacting to this. Now let's watch the video together. I know some of you I've seen the video, probably heard about it. You have your own opinions. Let me know your opinions in the comments as we watch the video.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn. There are two kinds of immigration in Canada. The one you probably think of most is permanent immigration, like when families come to Canada to settle and call it home. Every year, the government determines the right number of permanent residents that we want to admit. That's how it's been done for decades. But a plan that only talks about permanent immigration misses the other pathway, temporary immigration. Temporary residents are people who come to Canada for a limited time, like international students, temporary workers, and so on. They come to work a job or go to school. When the job is done or when they finish their degree, most return home. Some apply to stay as permanent residents, but most return home. So back to this year's plan. Historically, Canada's annual immigration plan just looked at permanent residents. The number of temporary students and workers that we admitted each year was left to the demands of the economy. It was usually a small proportion of our population.
Okay, well, so far the minister has talked about immigration, and you can see that he admitted that they did make some errors or some mistakes in terms of immigration, and he's going to talk about that. But now he has said that when international students come, most go back. I don't know where he's getting that statistics. The statistics that I have shows that most international students don't go back. They stay in Canada. That is actually the real thing. So most don't go back. And of course, he has differentiated between permanent residents and temporary residents. Temporary residents is where the problem usually is. So apparently the minister is saying that previously temporary residents were not part of immigration plans, but because of the labor shortages that happened after COVID, they needed a lot of temporary residents to come into the country. And that's why sort of like the floodgates of immigration was opened to temporary residents.
But some saw that as an opportunity to profit, to game the system. We've seen way too many large corporations doing this.
The government says the program has been used to get around hiring Canadian workers in some instances.
Far too many colleges and universities used international students to raise their bottom line.
There are the diploma equivalent of puppy mills that are just churning out diplomas. There is fraud and abuse, and it needs to end.
Because they could charge these students tens of thousands of dollars more for the same degree. And then there are really bad actors who outright exploit people, who target vulnerable immigrants with promises of jobs, diplomas, and easy pathways to citizenship, promises that would never come true. Looking back, when the post-pandemic boom cooled and businesses no longer needed the additional labor help, as a federal team, we could have acted quicker and turned off the taps faster.
Now, it is time to make the adjustments to stabilize the immigration system that we need and get it working right for Canadians for right now.
Wow. As a federal government, we should have acted faster and turned off the taps quicker. That is the most important statement in all of this thing that the minister is saying, because really, these things were not happening over your head. It is the government. It is the government that approves corporations. It is the government that approves colleges. There is no how these colleges or these corporations were doing all of those things, and the government wasn't aware. It's not possible. The government turned a blind eye to some of these things that the corporations were doing. The government turned a blind eye to the fact that there were all sorts of schools, quack schools coming up all over the place. Were they not getting certified? Were they did not have the permission of the government to run their programs? Yeah. Honestly, even though the minister is, admitting that they did make a mistake, and I love that, I can't even understand how they got to that point in the first place. Yeah. I mean, this is supposed to be like a society that we all look up to, have checks and balances. But it seemed like those checks and balances were not working. And you can see the minister blaming the bad actors. I think that more of the blame should be on the government or on the immigration system or on the university council or whatever, the people who give these universities, the licenses, and also on those who regulate some of these corporations, like business regulations, societies, and all of that. A lot of the blame is on these people because a lot of them were doing all of these things for their own selfish gain. Everyone was thinking about themselves. Let's hear the rest of it.
Immigration is primarily a federal job. We have the levers to rein it in, so we are.
This is a big change, a major cut to immigration, reducing permanent immigration levels by at least 20%.
A new string of measures to clamp down on temporary immigrants.
That means a decrease in international students, temporary foreign workers.
Canada's new immigration plan is straightforward. Lower the number of new immigrants coming into Canada, both temporary and permanent. Some temporary residents may turn to our asylum system when their visa expires as a shortcut to stay in Canada. Those claims will be analyzed and processed, and if their claim fails, they'll be sent home. Between the amount of people coming and going, we'll effectively pause population growth for the next 2 years. Then from 2027 onwards, it'll balance out and slowly start increasing again at a sustainable pace.
I'm sure you saw that news article, the one that flashed on the screen. Nearly 14,000 international students are seeking asylum. And you can hear when the minister said it. It is true. Some temporary residents in Canada, visitor visa holders, work permit holders, and international students will go and seek asylum using that as a means to stay longer in Canada with the hope that they will get permanent residence. And he has said they will crack down on them. Now, we don't have the specifics as to how the government is going to do that. They are saying that their claims will be processed, and then if they are refused, they will be sent back. A lot of people are saying, why are you even processing the claims? If someone is an international student and he comes and he says, oh, I'm seeking asylum, a lot of people, if you go to the comments of this video, I'm going to probably try and show the comments. A lot of them are saying, keep them out. I will show the comments so that I see what Canadians are saying. I mean, it is fraudulent for them to come here as international students and now turn around and say they're seeking asylum. I don't know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Well, if you ask me, I think this is a very simplistic plan. He has said it will pause immigration, it will stabilize, and then to start growing and all of that. Well, that is a plan, a simplistic plan, but we don't know how it will go. But one thing I want us to see is the comments that people made under this video. It is really, really eye-opening. But I want us to look at some of these comments to see the sentiments of Canadians, regarding the minister's video and all these projections that they are making, especially when it comes to asylum claims. Okay, we're going to be looking at some of the comments. There are over 18,500 comments under this video, and I just urge us to be cautious. Some people were there, they did not hold back, they were just giving it to him. But the reason why I'm showing this is just for us to have like an idea of the sentiments of people. This first person is saying this is like someone who sets fire to everyone's house on the street, then sits them down for a serious conversation on fire safety. And then someone says there was never a labor shortage. People refuse to work for peanuts, while one-bedroom apartments rose above $2,500 a month. So there was something that was actually happening at that time. They were giving EI, so some people didn't go back to work. And, part of this fraud that we're hearing about or that we're talking about is that Canadian employers would rather employ foreign workers and pay them very little than employ permanent residents and Canadian residents and pay them a fair wage. Yeah, so most of these temporary residence workers are not even getting a fair wage. They are not being paid up to what a Canadian or a permanent resident would have gotten. And that's why there's such a boom on temporary workers in Canada. Oh my God. it's a wage shortage. Someone says, I can smell BS through the screen. Justin has ruined this country. I've always voted Liberal, but never again. I will never vote Trudeau or the Liberals again. You remember, now, this is a sentiment about, the election, which is what a lot of people are angry about. Someone says, for those that are curious, this is currently sitting at 44,000 dislikes and 17,000 likes. There's a way you can see the number of dislikes, that the number of dislikes on this video is 44,000. Yeah, someone says you expect to get away with the worst mess. I'm actually looking for comments that talk about the immigration, that talk about immigration fraud, that talk about asylum claims. Let me look for those comments. But you can see that there's lots of negative comments. People say it's embarrassing. You created a massive problem. I cannot even read some of these comments. My goodness. So there's a lot about the labor shortages. Some people are saying that Trudeau destroyed this country. I'm trying to look for, but there are some comments here that talk about, these people who are claiming asylum, crack down on them, send them away, make the deportations faster, and all of that. The government is under pressure, like we can see, and I have a feeling that we'll start seeing a lot more deportations. Actually, deportations are happening. There are lots of deportations happening. There's not a lot of it on the news for some reason, but be sure that deportations are happening, and a lot more deportations will happen. Canada is like making a comeback on its immigration and just trying to put things in order, and make the immigration system better for everyone. So in addition to the government cracking down, the federal government cracking down on immigration fraud, Ontario as a province is also cracking down on immigration fraud. So if you go to the Ontario immigration page, the OIMP, you would see this news. It's a news release, Ontario cracking down on immigration scams. Province is proposing fines and bans for bad actors that are exploiting newcomers. Yeah, some of these immigration scams that Ontario is talking about is directed at those who exploit newcomers, and you will be amazed at the ways that newcomers are actually exploited in Canada. So I'm just going to take time to read it. The Ontario government will soon introduce legislation to crack down on fraudulent immigration representatives who exploit newcomers. If passed, the bill would enable the province to create standards that immigration representatives must meet when assisting in individuals or employers with their OIMP application, with penalties for those who violate the standards, including fines, multi-year bans, and lifetime bans. So, of course, Ontario has its own immigration program, the PNP, Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. And a lot of people, newcomers who are in Canada, who probably have a work permit, spouses of international students, or even international students themselves, they are reaching out to these immigration representatives, and these people are sort of like giving them ideas on how to scam the system. And this is what they're talking about. So a lot of times when they are processing the OIMP applications, they notice these things. So that's why there are some things that they are insisting on now. Yeah. Let us read a bit and see. So as part of its efforts to combat immigration scams, the government is introducing a new compliance and enforcement-related measures for the OIMP. Now, sometimes I wonder, why were these measures not there before? Or is it that the measures were there, but they were not enforced? I don't know. I'm always a bit skeptical when you say we're introducing efforts to combat immigration scams. If you're doing immigration, you would know that definitely people will try to scam the system. Didn't the government have anything in place for that before? I don't know. Yeah, so they are particular about, those who engage in council fraud, they will give them lifetime ban and all of that. And of course, penalties as much as $2,000. Now, let's look at some quick facts as to the kind of scams that people have been doing. It says that between May 1st, 2019 and April 9, 2024, 153 people were charged with fraudulent immigration consultant-related offenses, with most of them being Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Now, permanent residents and Canadian citizens sometimes are involved in these crimes because some people claim that they are related to people that they are not related to. I hear people charge lots of money to say that they are related to you. They are not, but if you pay them money, they will say that they are. So some of the things that I know that they are doing now for Ontario, they are confirming employment, they're asking for bank statements to prove that you got paid, they're asking for pay slips. A lot of these things can be forged, but I think that they are putting measures in place to actually confirm a lot of these things. You know what I think? I think that probably because of the number of applications that they receive, they become a bit lax, yeah? In terms of checking, I think checking has become a burden. So when they just see the document, they just approve it, without actually doing in-depth check. What do you think, guys? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I think they were doing in-depth, checking before. Maybe they were checking, but on the surface. But now they are going in-depth and realizing that some of these people are being helped by Canada permanent residents and citizens and also immigration consultants. So guys, so far we've looked at how the government is cracking down on immigration fraud through asylum claims, fake job offers, and also how Ontario too is also cracking down. We also saw the Prime Minister Trudeau talking about the immigration plans, how bad actors have overtaken the system, and how they are trying to correct the wrongs and the mistakes that they made in the past. If you got any value from this video so far, why don't you like it, and also subscribe if you've not. But most importantly, I want to know what your thoughts are about these issues. What is your opinion about these immigration scams? Do you think that it was the government's fault that this thing, has blown out of proportion, and now they are coming to now try and blame people, which is what a lot of people are saying that the immigration minister is doing? He's playing a blame game. I think he should have taken responsibility to say, no, we were slow, say that they didn't turn off the tap on time, but he should have taken a bit more time to be sorry for the mistake that they made and for the headache and the heartache that they've given a lot of people in Canada, just PRs and citizens, but newcomers as well. International students especially have gotten a lot of heart palpitations because of some of these things that have come out as a backlash and that wasn't originally their fault, but they are suffering for it. So I'm personally making a heartfelt appeal to anyone, if you're an international student in Canada or a temporary resident and thinking of making a bogus asylum claim, better think again. Yes, do get advice, do get counsel, think about it, think about the long-term implications, and if you feel that you have no choice, you can go ahead. Yeah, but just be sure that you understand what is required and what can happen if you are not granted, and also know all the costs, the emotional cost, the financial cost, and all of the costs to yourself and your family. Some people, I know someone who sought, who claimed asylum and had to hide for over 10 years. I'm telling you, for that long, had to hide, be hiding, could not come out just because of all of this thing, because a removal order had been placed on them and they could not come out. They could not work. They had to rely on, the goodwill of friends and family. So those are some of the things that people will not tell you. But I hope that you're able to educate yourself and understand what is at stake here. So guys, once more, it's the end of the year. This is the time, the holiday period. Let's go out and celebrate with our families. I hope that this video didn't dampen your spirit. It was meant to inform you and to keep you updated, right? We cannot put our head in the sand and hide and say, we won't know what's happening. It is good to be aware. Even if it's not good news, it's good to be aware, and it's good for you to know. There will always be a way. And I believe that God will make a way for you. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and share the video. And please go ahead and check out the other videos on this channel, and I'll talk to you in the next one. For now.